This episode is brought to you by Endless Comics, Games, and Cards. Whether you are a dedicated Wednesday warrior or looking for the latest drop of TCG or sports cards, Endless Comics, Games, and Cards has you covered. While Endless is known for their large collection of both single-issue comics and library of graphic novels, not to mention their monthly comic book club, they also stay fully stocked with singles and sealed product for Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and many others. What's the best part? You can set up a pull list online at endlesscgc.com and they'll send your books to you. So head on over to endlesscgc.com or check them out on social media at endlesscgc.
Hey, this is Paul Pope, comic book creator behind such award-winning books as Battling Boy, Batman Year 100, Heavy Liquid, 100%. You are listening to the Oblivion Bar podcast.
Welcome to the Oblivion Bar podcast with your host, Chris Hacker and Aaron Knowles.
Joining me today is the CEO of Sweet, which today we will be covering the many products that he will have over at Sweet, which includes findyourcomics.store, Sweet Shop, and Bindings. It is my pleasure to welcome my friend Kenny Meyers back onto the Oblivion Bar podcast.
Hell yeah. What's going on, buddy?
Kenny, welcome back to the Oblivion Bar. As we were pressing record and as the music was playing, I was trying to look up and see when the last time I had you on the show, and I wasn't able to find it, but I want to say it was was it 2023 was the last time you were here?
Probably would have been 2023. I also think you got a new theme song. Did you get a new theme song since then?
Yeah, it was 2023. It was July of 2023. And yes, we had our good friends over at Dream Kid basically did all of our music.
It just like hits so hard. I'm like, I'm ready to talk about comic books, man. Let's go.
That's right. Very synthy, right? We're going for that late 80s.
Oh yeah, 90s. I just feel like I'm about to be attacked by a xenomorph or be like accosted by androids. I love it.
Well, let's get into, again, while you're here, and what I sort of loosely got into there in the intro is you've been cooking, I guess is how the kids would say it these days. You've sort of been, and I know this because we're friends, but I think folks are going to be really, really excited about what you have coming up here later half of 2025, going into 2026. And I almost kind of want to just like pass it off to you and see what you want to talk about first, because I'm excited for all three. But,
yeah.
I mentioned Sweet. This is something that you've been working on. You have a whole entire team behind you. Before we actually, I'm going to back up a little bit here. Before we get into Sweet, can I ask you, do we want to talk at all about Omnibus? Should we squash it? I'm sure you've talked about it a ton, and we don't have to talk about it at all if you don't want to, and people can do their own research on the other half. But I want to ask you.
Do your own research.
Yeah, do your own research.
When people do their own research, problems happen.
That's fair.
Just as like a general thing. I'm happy to answer any question.
Sure.
It's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much it.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. I'm sad it's gone. I tried to save it. I couldn't. That was it. That's the Omnibus story.
Honestly, I think that's like a really good sort of overview. And I know, talking to friends and people within our space, Omnibus was sort of like the chosen one in a way. Like when we were talking about what is the alternative for Comixology? What is Comixology has been a true bastardization of what it once was. And I think a lot of us, we all covet the local comic book shop, the brick and mortar. We want that community space. Yeah. But there's also still a want and need for a digital alternative for whatever reason, traveling, or just there are certain things that you want to buy digitally, what have you. Omnibus for a lot of us was that pillar, right? And as you said, things happened and it didn't work out. But here you are in 2025 with something brand new. So again, I just wanted to sort of bring that up very loosely and sort of get your read and just, again, let people know, because I think it sort of happened abruptly, and I think folks were sort of just kind of wondering what was going on there.
I was surprised as well when it happened, when it closed.
Sure.
So that was news to me. I have spoken about it a bit. I think it was obviously a lot of lessons learned, which is like the cheesy way to put it. Like a lot of hard lessons learned.
Right.
Those lessons have been hopefully brought into all the stuff I'm working on right now.
Yeah, I have no doubt. Honestly, I think people know this at this point, is that like in the world of tech, I don't know if this directly attributes to what you went through with Omnibus, but I think in the world of tech, it's usually like move fast and break things.
Mhm.
And sometimes those hard lessons end up happening in closures. Like I've always heard a lot of people who are successful in tech have many, I'm not even gonna say a failure, but just like a lesson learned elsewhere
Yeah.
to where it takes you to that next step. And this is a terrible example, but like Sam Altman, I think I was gonna say Sam Altman.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Like,
What are you doing?
like that dude.
Why are you bringing him here?
But like the
Oh.
dude is like one of the richest people in the world. And he was like widely known as a failure for many years. Right. And I'm not saying that's what you are. I'm not saying what any of this is, but like that happens in tech where things.
It's okay. The business failed.
Right. Yeah.
That is a fair thing. And I was a part of that business and I had a role in all of it. So it's totally legitimate to talk about it that way. You know, fundamentally, the biggest problem with Omnibus was who you had on your Travis, my co-founder, and I just didn't see eye to eye. And that kind of roots itself and then reveals itself even more. And, you know, unfortunately, a business is so like this is so challenging that if the partnership isn't working, then it's not, no matter how much success or like traction or people are using, it's just not going to work. So it was unfortunate, but like I said, lessons learned. And I'm happy to talk to anyone about it anytime for any of their feelings about it, including why should I go to Sweet Shop when Omnibus happened and like my role in that. And I think it's a really honest question to ask. And yeah, I mean, it's informed, failure has informed a lot of what I'm doing now, which has been a complete 180 in terms of experience, as well as I get to pick a different starting point for the shop itself. So it's been really lovely. I too, like I said, wish it could have kept going, and I tried to, and that's kind of sort of the bottom line of it is that, you know, it didn't quite work out. So
Sure.
I've had people email me with things like, hey, like I got my refund or something, so I was fine. And then I've had people be like, why would you trust this guy? Because of Omnibus. And those are both fair fucking responses. like that's the thing. Like that's a legitimate thing. And I mean, the goal, like the primary thing is to stay in the game.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what Sweet's built on. It's really built on staying in the game.
Well, let's get into that. Let's just talk about the new age of Kenny Meyers and his comic endeavors. So as I sort of set up there and very badly transitioned into, of the three ventures that I'm here to talk to you about today, which one would you like to get into first? Because I think folks are going to be really, really excited about all three. And there's one in particular that I think could completely revolutionize the way that we find comic shops. But I'm going to pass it off to you. Where do you want to start here with those three comic ventures?
First, I think it's important to establish that Sweet is not just me. I'm the face of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have that dumb CEO title, but it is both Matt Anderson and Ben Carr, respectively, a very excellent designer by trade, but everyone does their thing. And then another engineer who works with me, Ben. And so the effort that has been put into these three products is very much a team effort. As well as we had a designer help us at the start named Tom Carmody. This is me giving flowers, who was like really foundational and like setting a lot of the tone and stuff. And just had to take another job and was lovely. So I want to make sure he gets credit too. So let's talk about bindings. Let's go in order. So bindings, I'll pitch it for you to your audience. Bindings is, I call it fancy comic link tree. It deals very much with what I call the Scott Snyder problem. It can be a bunch of people's problem, actually, like Scott Snyder, Jonathan Hickman, like all these prolific creators who have signed up for a lot of things on a lot of different platforms or services or publishers where like they get pulled into exclusives because, say, for example, you can go to a comic store and pick up a lot of Scott Snyder stuff, but his Comixology exclusives might not come out till a certain day, and you might not know that you're able to buy them. So Fancy Comic Linktree, you post your previews up, they can sign up for your newsletter. It sort of becomes a replacement for your Linktree, but with like actual comic previews, where to buy it, what you're doing. It's a marketing tool. that is bindings.
Mm-hmm. And you've already done like one thing that you've always done really well, and especially I think with bindings, is the UI is so user friendly. Everything is very easy to use, looks great, all the things. And I think bindings, it definitely fills this gap in the comic book world that I want to say, and you use Scott Snyder, Jonathan Hickman, a lot of these bigger creators as an example.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like maybe even helps like the smaller creators just as much, or if not more.
Totally.
You know, like it gives them a place to share their, like not only hold their work, their pages or scripts or what have you, and are able to distribute that to either, you know, let's say, because you can like link up your Patreon to it, you can share it with like, you know, potential editors, other creatives, what have you. I think all of that is what a great idea, firstly. And also, I'm curious, I guess my main question with bindings, firstly, is when you're going to pitch this to creatives in the comic world, what is the first response you often get from people when you tell them, like, yeah, like you said, this is like fancy Linktree for your comic work?
The thing about bindings is that it was actually inspired by conversations with creators.
Mm-hmm.
When I got the boot from Omnibus, I actually went and spoke to a bunch of creators at different levels in their career. So like people who are just crushing and like can do comics solo to people just starting out. And the general ideas came from those conversations of like, I just need a spot where people can find where to get my stuff. And there are bridges to that. Like they want a place where people can find their stuff and then buy it, obviously.
Right.
Or just like I can quickly upload a comic. And so we wanted to make a place that was easy for them to do and also considerate of how a lot of creators, you know, they're not flush with cash, and comics is really like a feast or famine thing. So it's priced that way too, in a lot of ways, for those kind of creators. Like if you do 5 indie comics, you can put them up, you can keep them there forever. You just pay for the pages, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
How do they see? I don't think people quite understand it. I think there's like one YouTube video away from more people understanding it, just explaining like what it is.
Mm-hmm.
The people who came up with the idea that worked with me on it understand it completely and use it quite often, which is lovely. Or just yesterday, Henry Barajas, I hope I pronounced that correctly, who's doing an image book, was just talking about how he just has his one place to like sell his comics, and like that kind of stuff is really fun. We get a lot of that feedback. I've had a lot of newer like image style creators. I have yet to get Webtoon people in, but I really want them to, because they have to spread, like with Tapas and Webtoon.
Yeah.
They have to spread quite a bit. It works with their stuff, but they generally like, once people get past the what is this, they're like, oh, I can use this. Like Junie Baugh's using it, which is crazy cool. I mean, it's always just fun to like. And so
I love that we're sort of cut from the same cloth. Sorry, not to cut you off, but like we're cut from the same cloth in the sense that we can never be cool about this kind of stuff.
Ever.
Like when we talk to someone on the show, I'm like, oh my God, it's freaking who
I am
like
unapologetically a fan of both like front of house, like creators, writers, and also back of house people, people who do a ton of work, and almost embarrassingly so. I worry that it comes across meaningless, but genuinely, I just love working in this space so much,
right,
that like it's nearly impossible for me to not, like, you have to be a real dick for me not to be enthusiastic about you. And so like, yeah, so there've been creators who are just like starting out, or they have their own I don't know. It has had the kind of traction we expected to, and it's really sort of growing like word of mouth, and it's really quite lovely. You know, I think, like I said, I think we're like one or two YouTube explainers about how to use it, away from it like cracking a larger audience.
Sure.
But we've been busy. We've been too busy, and that's on me.
Well, you've also gotten like Malachi Ward in there too. He's done some work for you.
Oh, my buddy.
Yeah, which looks great.
Oh, he's the best.
Yeah. And also like Kieran Gillen has been often someone who's been preaching it and singing its praises and such. And then I think there was someone else that I'm spacing right now that I've seen often, is Aubrey Sitterson. Has he used it quite a bit as well? Or am I thinking
what a badass? You meet someone who's excellent at promotion, and you're just like, you crush this. And the fact that he's using bindings is really a compliment. I mean, a lot of the people who use it are very good at promotion, so they also understand how that works. And yeah, Aubrey Sitterson uses it a lot, and I love him. And he sent us feedback, and we're getting to a lot of it, and there's a lot of cool things coming there. We're idiots. We're like, let's also build a digital comic store. So, but right now it's really working well, and it's growing. And yeah, we've seen a lot of cool people. It's always a delight, no matter the scale of what they're doing. when like someone signs up and they post their shelf or they post their like now coming out, like their final order cutoff like date. I mean, I've been doing products for forever at a lot of places, and these are so special to me. Like even like the smallest creator posting their like strip they did on bindings is thrilling.
Sure.
It's really fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I totally agree with you too. I think you're just maybe like one or two creators that need a space to just sort of house a lot of their work away from this thing spreading like wildfire. Because everything that you said, I totally want to echo just from the sentiment that I've heard from creators here on the show is that there's really not any easy way to share work. This alleviates all of that need. Like right here, Bindings is the perfect place, I think, for people to share their work in a nice condensed way. And again, as I said earlier, I know I keep buttering you up here, Kenny, but like the UI, it's something that's been consistent across not only the three things we're going to talk about here today, but again, the previous Omnibus. I think that's why people loved it, is because of how it felt in your hands. That's so important, I think. Like, here's the thing. I'm not even afraid to badmouth other platforms here. And I don't want to make like a job of it, but like one of the reasons why I think, and I'm just going to say it here, global comics. I think part of the reason why people aren't in love with global comics is because the UI is shit. So people want something like this, and we'll get into Sweet Shop and where I think people are going to eventually find the real value in that too. The shelf thing I think was really, really cool as well. You mentioned how people can just sort of showcase their work in a really condensed, organized way. That's really, really important. So since I was already kind of talking about it there, let's go right into Sweet Shop, because there's one, again, I teased it in the beginning, but Sweet Shop is the one that has gotten me the most excited. And the one I actually, Kenny, that I'm most curious about, because even though we're friends and I think we talked a lot offline off the podcast here, can you, for the people, for the layman, for people who maybe aren't familiar with what Sweet Shop is, can you give us a little, like a short overview of like, not only what Sweet Shop is, which I think people can kind of understand what it is just based on what we've talked about thus far, but also can you give us an update on where we're going to be at here in the near future with Sweet Shop?
Yeah. So Sweet Shop is a digital comic store. It is focused on discovery, really just helping people find the comic book for them. A friend of mine once said they believe there's a comic for everyone in the world. And I kind of stole that from her. And
do you want to expose who that was, just out of curiosity?
I don't know. I don't have that permission. So, but they're a lovely person. And so I just was like, well, this is our idea. It's to find your comic, like to help everyone find their comic. That's the ambitious Silicon Valley version of it. But the reality is it's a digital comic store where you can buy an app that's going to be on Android and iOS. We are probably launching an invite only beta here in the next few weeks.
Here we go.
Which people don't know, and that beta will have quite a few publishers, many that you know, some that are coming later that are taking a little bit longer. But you know, I think a lot about the article recently on Global getting Marvel and what the author there like wrote about like a lot of publishers aren't focused on digital exclusives anymore. So I don't think we're looking at an environment where everyone's fighting over content. It's about the quality of the experience. And we're very, very focused on the quality of the experience. The chances are you will be able to find your book that you're looking for on Sweet Shop are very high without committing to anything. But we'll be announcing our publishers very, very soon, probably after New York. And the Blitz begins soon.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Again, as I said earlier, this is the one that I think I'm most excited for, because to this day, post Omnibus, I haven't found that sort of digital reader that I enjoy. And I think I've told you, in private that like, I'm just holding on for Sweet Shop, because when you first presented this idea, which I'm actually spacing when you first sort of showed us the, I guess, first concept or even like original draft of what this was going to eventually feel and look like.
Yeah.
I think Aaron and I were both so impressed, even in that. And again, this was maybe over a year ago, maybe somewhere near a year ago. It was even impressive then. So to see what you and your team have been working on since then is really exciting for me, as not only just your friend, but also a fan of the comics and someone that, again, is looking for that home for digital comics.
I think it's really great. I mean, I'm very biased, but I think we're doing a simultaneous beta release on Android and iOS on devices of all sizes. So it's a pretty big release.
Mm-hmm.
The feat, like you got to see the vision, and the vision takes a little bit, but it's going to be, I mean, essentially once shelves launched on bindings, we've been working on this nonstop, including meeting with publishers. There are a lot of fun surprises in that list. There are publishers that I was surprised about and so excited for. And there's a mix of sizes of those publishers, which, you know, the first thing is like, get the content. And then the second thing is like, well, I can get this here. What's the experience? And then we're going to open it up. I can't really say more than that. There's a lot that's going to be coming in the next few weeks. We know there's a lot of competitors. I would argue save your receipts from those competitors.
This is my favorite thing about Kitty Guys is like the very polite shade every once in a while thrown. It's my favorite because I do the same thing. I'm like, I'm usually the abrasive one here on the show. And, I love that we're sort of cut from the same cloth in that sense.
Yeah. I mean, it'll probably bite me in the ass at certain points and well deserved.
Sure.
But I love competition. I love comics, and, I never want any of the customers, like the readers and our publishers, to ever feel burned in any of that. Like,
sure.
We're working really hard to make sure that it's the experience that we would want, and that people can find things that they're really interested in that they might not have known they would be interested in. So that's kind of our goal.
Okay. Well, let me, there's a two-parter that I sort of have coming up on the same topic here of Sweet Shop, is that number one, how do you know when it's ready? You've been working on this for so long, you and your team, because as you said, this is sort of an ever evolving thing that, like many great artists, you're never really truly done with, right? In your head, and again, you can reveal as much as you're comfortable with, but like, how do you know when this is ready to be shown to the public?
Well, am I shipping everything that I want to ship for a 1.0? No, I'm not. A lot of what we're dealing with right now as a team is like resource constraints. Like, we don't have like the VC funds that like our competitors do intentionally. So we have to work through a lot of things, and timing and scheduling with my partners to make sure that things get done well. We know it's good when people can buy and read and search for books. Like, that's V1. We think V1.1 will be even cooler and ship faster than anyone will think it will, which is lovely. You literally touched upon the question that has been haunting me for the last like month and a half. Sure. Like, I definitely knew, like, when we talked in San Diego, I was like, we can't ship this. My co-founders might argue differently, but like, I know there's a bar to be met, and how quickly you can lose customers if you don't hit that bar in the digital comic space, because I've run that gauntlet before. So, man, it's a very tough question. The answer is really just like now, and it should have been 3 months ago. Like, that was it. That's kind of it. That's kind of where it's landing right now. We're going to get it out there. You're going to be able to do everything you did on Omnibus, at least for its iPad app, which I wasn't a part of the mobile apps and stuff like that, on the mobile version of the app. We do have Image and IDW announced. Our invite, it's going to be like an invite like Blue Sky was. Like, everyone's going to get a set of invites, so we can have like people come in and test it and tell us where we fucked up, who are maybe nicer to us than, other people.
Sure.
It should roll pretty quickly. When that is and who's on it is, of course, a fun secret to keep, but we'll be showing our cards soon enough. And then we'll probably blatantly be showing our cards. I think we're just going to probably develop out pretty much in the open. Which is a little unprecedented in the comic space for sure. Yeah. So unfortunately, it'll make the podcast interviews less interesting, because it'll just be like, so how's this feature coming along that you've been posting about on Blue Sky? And I'd be like, oh, it's great. Thanks for asking. We're not shipping it yet,
Well,
but it does make.
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah. It's one of those things where like, and I sort of attribute this to like the restaurant industry, where if you've ever been part of a restaurant opening, you never want to go to here, just like as a PSA to everybody. If a new restaurant is opening in your town, don't go for a month. I'm not saying you shouldn't get Sweet Shop for when it launches, but like, the kinks, the sort of like the wares and everything that you have to go through when you're first opening things, that's not what this is eventually going to become. So I guess I just sort of, I want people to sort of temper what you expect in the beginning. And again, as someone who's seen what this is sort of on the back end, hopefully I'm not like jinxing you here, but I'm pretty positive people are going to be excited about this almost from the jump. The people who do get to see it from that invite only. But I guess I want people to sort of be gentle in the beginning, because what you guys are doing and the team that you have, which as you said is like less than 5 people. There's 3 of you currently. Is that still accurate? 3?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just like, be gentle in the beginning, because I know given enough time and with enough feedback, you guys are going to fucking figure it out, and it's going to be awesome. I'm excited. I guess, and I had a 2-parter there. I guess that second part would be, compared to these other digital platforms for comics, for reading comics, are there any functions or any features that's going to be in that version 1.0 that you're able to reveal here today that you think are not only exciting, but just sort of separate Sweep from the rest of the crew?
Well, 1.0 is probably a smaller pool of people, so not many people will get access to it. When I think about that experience, I mean, it's a lot of things. If we're comparing to Kindle, then it's probably, I mean, I can consider Kindle a bookstore now. I don't consider it a comic store. It's like just like Apple Books, and like they also happen to have comics, and they do have a better comic reader than Apple Books. But
yes,
but like they still are like, their volume is clearly the highest still for digital spaces. I mean, Global, they they have a lot of features on Global. So if I'm doing a feature for feature thing, it's probably, I mean, they just have like so many features on that app. It's hopefully going to be easier to use than that application.
See my previous statements about Global. I'll say it so you don't have to, Kenny. Yeah, it's like trying to like go into space, basically, is using that app.
The thing I love that I don't see a lot of people doing with other apps is when I hand someone the app to play with, they just kind of keep tapping on things.
Yeah.
And they keep like following this web of like interesting things. Now, granted, they're like just trying to play around with the app, but it's not crashing on them, which is delightful. And that's sort of the goal. With Global, you have like 3,000 million comics. Obviously, we're going to be in Android 9 OS, iOS, which I think Neon Ichiban is not. They're on web only right now. Again, I think catalog is a discussion of the past that no longer really merits any weight. If I take a like bullet point feature, it's that you can just go into your library and you can download the PDF straight from your iPhone to your iCloud drive or whatever. Like you can download your backups right in there. You can read offline at the start. You know, we have a lot to build. And V1 is just getting our friends in there, getting the core mechanics down. And then the next thing will be the next thing, which we'll talk about, which I've been talking about for years. I talked about it on Omnibus, and we're really close on it. And then we'll probably go broader with that. And I'll tell you that one offline.
Or be really cryptic
ready.
here.
I'm not quite ready. Well, yeah, because we're probably going to do some like bigger announcement stuff pretty soon here.
Sure.
You get all the pre-warm up stuff, but I'm trying to give you the things that are newish that might be interesting to you. I'm really excited to be selling comic books again, and I'm really hoping we can really sell a lot more comics for a broader group of people. Like sell comics that were more obscure or maybe weren't successful. Anyway, yeah, that's Sweet Shop. We didn't even get to find your comic store.
No, we are. That's the next question I have for you here, because I need to know. This is the one that I've been sort of teasing, because this is the one I think that what you've done really well, Kenny, I think, with Sweet, just in general, is that you're finding gaps within comics that really need either a tune-up or just a whole new option, right? A digital reader. As a creator, a place to store your work and also share it either privately or publicly, however you want to do it. The other venture that you've been working on that we've been, again, teasing throughout this conversation is the findyourcomic.store. Now, we've had Comic Shop Locator for, I think that was created the same exact time www. was created, like the World Wide Web. Like that sort of experience has been way outdated and also terrible since I think I started reading comics. Like, it's just not great. And it often gives you bad info. It shows you stores that either don't exist anymore or what have you. So tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing here with findyourcomic.store. And then also, like, how do you tackle something like this? Whereas like in a landscape of, we're not in the 90s where there's 50,000 comic stores in the US, but there's still well over, I would say, 5,000 comic stores in the US.
Mhm.
What has been your guys' strategy on your team within Sweet to sort of tackle this venture, which is like, again, like I think the soft pitch is like a newer, better comic shop locator.
My original pitch or what it refined to. My original pitch was, I really hate this fucking website. We can probably do a better one. That's kind of the core of it. That just because it comes out of like pure fandom of both like comic stores and like nice to use software.
Right.
The data is a problem. We don't have Google resources. We can't have roving street drones. Like, tell us if a comic store is open. The costs don't really work out that way.
Right.
So we knew we had to build like a reporting system. The idea was, I just want a place that's nice for people to figure out like where their comic stores are. So what I did was I was like, well, why don't we just, there's all these different pillars that I think we can do a little bit better for, because Sweet's motto is make everything less shitty for everyone in comics. And that's everyone in comics. And even though I have a digital store, I love comic book stores. I love going to them. I am talking to them, and I'm very nervous at New York City Retailer Day to talk about Find Your Comic Store and announcing some stuff about how that might work with Sweet Shop. Bindings creators use our little Find Your Comic Store button, and it works worldwide, which Comic Shop Locator does not.
Mm-hmm.
They just have drop downs for entire countries, cities that they support. It's very weird. It's like a random ass city in Scotland, and you're just like, okay, I guess this city.
Yeah, as I said, like the Comic Shop Locator, I feel like has not been updated since the day it was created.
Yeah. So, maps exist now, so it's easy to do a map.
Mm-hmm.
And so we wanted a place where people could find a store, and also that shops could show a little bit of their personality without too much work. And hopefully you've spoken a lot, which is lovely, about how we think about user interaction. It's deeply embedded. I work with really incredible designers by force of will upon them, and even like Omnibus, Travis was a very good designer. And I take design very seriously, even though I myself am not a good designer. And so working with, my team to build that site, we wanted to make sure that it was just not much work for comic shops, because they have enough. They deal with so much shit.
Mm-hmm.
They have the direct market system is crazy. They are doing such amazing work. I want there to be more comic shops. And all of the stuff is like pipelines into, I want there to be more comics in the world. And I want there to be more comic creators. I want to buy Chris Hacker's book when it's written, and I want to sell it on my store. I want to, have them find that store. But if they can't find a shop near them, which is very normal,
Mm-hmm.
they can buy it on Sweet Shop. That is weirdly like, it's kind of monopolistic, but I'm also happy to be the Apple to someone's Windows 90, like Microsoft computer, right? Like Windows 95 was the dominant operating system, but Apple was the better experience for the longest time. And that company also made money. And honestly, to get any of these places in places where we can have more of them, they all have to make money. Like and so these are all designed to generate income so that we can not only ourselves have, nice lives, and but also so that like people doing all these things that I love, including running a comic store, can like take a break because they get like passive income or something like that.
Right.
It's not a 501c. It's not altruistic because it's selfish. I really want there to be more comics and more like all these different things in the world. So Find Your Comic Store is sort of like our little baby that we love. I got reports from many, many places, and it's been really cool. We've had shops come in, tell us it's closed. I think we're at 200 claimed stores in mostly the US now, although we had someone fill in a store in France, which was whenever we get someone we had like Poland, we've had Australia, we've had no one in like Asia, Southeast Asia yet, but I think there's some translation like things there we can do too, because it is mostly English driven. And like, we're working with some of the point of sale systems that are, since Diamond's gone, like we're trying to see if we can like connect with them and connect bindings with them of like retail shops. We really want to make sure that people can make money off of comics and that people can find that. And like our thing is software. So this is what we're contributing. We're contributing, but also want to make money just like people who work in the industry. Like that's my rah-rah speech about find your comic store. What a sack of shit. Like giving like a soapbox speak about my company.
Here's the thing.
It is a corporation.
You know that and I've said this, I think, to you in person when we were in San Diego, that like, if we want the good in comics, we have to be the ones to do it. We can't expect people around us to create these things for us. So the fact that you're doing this, and even though it's a company, like, and that you're making money from it, who cares? You're creating a thing that makes comics better. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And I think that like the fact that that's your goal, and I think it's very obviously your goal, people will see that immediately. And I think that's kind of why, not only that it's the three-parter. It's not only why we are friends. It's not only why I back you in any venture that you do in this space, but it's also why I think that you're going to be successful. Is that I think when people see what you're doing, you and your team, I keep saying you, but I hope it's sort of known that I mean like the sweet team. When they see what you're doing, I want people to understand that like this, of course you want this to be successful and eventually make money from it. But at the end of the day, I hope it's known that like, this is going to make comics better, because if it wasn't for people like yourself doing this, we would be stuck with a Comixology. We would be stuck with a Global Comics. We would be stuck with Comic Shop Locator, which in my opinion, I'm on record saying right now, suck. So like, this is why I'm glad that you're doing something like this. So like, if it's not more obvious than right now, I want people listening to this right now, even though that like Kenny and myself are being a little cryptic with some of these things, buy in. This is the time to buy into what I think Kenny and what you and your team are doing, because it's awesome. I'm excited for what's going to be happening, because we're releasing this the first day, like the day that this is released is the first day of New York Comic Con. So everything that's happened, we're in the past right now. Everything that happens at New York Comic Con, I'm almost expecting at this point, will be great for Sweet and everything that's going on within the Sweet organization. And I'm just really excited for this week. I'm excited for what's happening over the next week or so with Sweet and everything that you guys are working on, including, again, Find Your Comic Store, bindings, and Sweet Shop.
Well, thank you. I hope it's not like me leading lemmings off a cliff, but that's very kind. Uh-huh. You've always been kind and always supportive. And boy, if I fuck this up a second time, I'm definitely out of comics. So
gotta go to manga.
So there we go. Yeah. So if it's not that, then bye. But if it is that, which I think it is, I genuinely think this is going to be really fun and cool, and hopefully sell more comics, and grow comics a little. Then that would be my dream fulfilled. Yeah.
And again, I have the utmost confidence, and you have our utmost support. I think I've told you many times, and I know you won't let us do this, but anything you ever need from the Oblivion Bar is pro bono. Because again, I believe in you and the thing that whatever you're doing, including the three things we've talked about here today. And as we sort of round out this conversation, Kenny, I need to get your read on like, just like, what are you enjoying right now in comics? Like a lot of times when we do these kind of conversations, and again, us being friends, I always have it in the back of my brain of like, I want this to just be a normal conversation, but I also want to promote the thing that you're like here to talk about. So like, This is our chance here at the very end. I want to hear about like, can you give me, they don't have to be best. They don't have to be like your favorite. What are some comic creators that are on your radar that you've really been enjoying? Someone that's either been surprising you or someone that's just been like consistently good. And then also in that same breath, are there just like any books, any series, any graphic novels, any publishers, just sort of a wide berth of things that you're really enjoying in comics that you want to sort of highlight here there at the end of this conversation? I've
been really enjoying Kurt Pyre's Lost Fantasy.
Good friend of the show. Love Kurt.
That's on Image, and it's a beautiful book. I've been reading a lot more manga for reasons, and very much enjoying Glacier Bay as a publisher. They're actually a really cool indie publisher who's been doing some beautiful manga books. I always read the Power Fantasy and FML because I am Kelly Sue DeConnick and Kieran loyal till I die.
Can I cut you there for a quick second? Because so we were supposed to talk to Kelly Sudaconic this week, but she unfortunately got COVID while she was over
Yeah.
in Europe, and we had to postpone it. She will be coming on the show, but point being is that I reread issue 1 and 2, and then the rest of FML, which at the time of this recording is at issue 6.
Yeah.
My God, like, you talk about power
She's
fantasy,
so good.
and you talk about these other comics. There are plenty. Assorted Crisis Events, Martian Man, absolute. Like there's so many great comics out there. But when I like say like FML by Kelly and David over at Dark Horse, when I say that's like my comic, this is a comic that I feel like I can hand someone and go, my gosh, this is why comics are cool. I really mean it. FML fucking rocks.
At this point, I'm too biased because I've had the opportunity to talk with Kelly Sue a couple times just about what we're doing. And like, that speaking of lemmings off a cliff, if she was like, we're going off this cliff, I'd be like, yeah, that seems right. Plus the fact that her writing is exceptional and like greatly economical. I look at I have to leave pretty soon. I have to go pick up my kids. I look at a book. I gotta wrap up. I look at a book like Pretty Deadly and a book like East of West, which are both like Western, like post apocalyptic, like kind of apocalyptic visions. And like Jonathan Hickman takes, 70,000 volumes.
Right.
And I love it. And that is not just again, like it's verbose. It's like he builds a thing. And then she kind of did almost like the similar story in like one volume.
Yeah.
In such a beautiful tone. Like I just love that. I'm a huge fan of hers. FML is great.
And also not enough can be said about David too and his contribution. Like
he's such a good
what
artist,
he adds
dude.
that story is insanely good. The visual storytelling is incredible.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Kenny, we're going to have you on the show again. Like it's going to happen. Yeah. Honestly, I want to get you back on a lot sooner than I would normally have other guests on. I want you on for version 1.1 when that eventually hits. Like let's have that come out. And then you come back on the show. You can bring on, your other. I'm sorry. Was it David and I'm sorry. Who was the other one? I'm sorry.
It's
Ben
Matt and Ben.
Matt and Ben. Thank you. Sorry,
yeah.
Matt and Ben. If you want to have them on, that's cool. If you want to just come on yourself, totally fine. We'll have Aaron on this time. All the things. But point being is that so grateful to not only be your friend, but for you to share what you share with Aaron and I, with all the goings on with Sweet. Very excited, very proud of you and everything you've done. Excited to hang out at New York Comic Con. Everybody, when you're listening to this, hopefully Kenny and I and Aaron have all already hung out. If not, it will happen that week. And Kenny, I can't wait for everything. I'm very, very excited for people to get this in their hands and get to play with it and all the things. So before I let you go, I'm going to pass it off to you one more time. How can people find all things Sweet? Is there anything you want to tease? Like I'm not, you don't have to, but like, is there anything you want to sort of say before I get you out of here with this conversation?
You can go to, if you're excited just about Sweet in general or Sweet Shop, you can go to sweet.dev and sign up for our mailing list. That's probably the best way right now. I do want to tease that, and this is unannounced, that FML will be on.
Yeah, buddy.
Sweet Shot. So there you go, buddy. There's your tag.
Yes.
And so you can extrapolate what that means for the whatever publisher it may be or may not be on. So
there you go.
I'm very excited for that. So thank you again, as always, for having me on.
Absolutely. Kenny, what a pleasure. Can't wait to see you in New York Comic Con. We'll talk to you here soon, okay?
All right.